and welcome. My name is Jocelyn and today we're going to be talking about all of the items in my collection that I have hit pan on. I am involved in many project pans, have been in the last couple of years, and so some of the items I'm going to be talking about today are ones that I've hit pan on because of a project, and then some of them are because I've just naturally hit pan on them. So I thought it might be fun to chit chat about some of these, well, all of these items, how I hit pan on them, how easy it was, whether it was in a project or naturally, and all of that kind of jazz. I definitely have not as much as I thought I was going to have, and I think that the reason that I don't have as much as I was expecting is because I like to project pan cream items, which you go through a little bit faster and they go bad more quickly than a powder product, and powder products are really usually the ones that you hit pan on. So there's not as much, but there is still quite a handful of products here that I thought I would share with you. And before we get into those products, I did want to take a moment to talk about a campaign. So I am working on a sponsorship video for the brand Ana Luisa. This is not this video. I am not getting sponsored for this video at all. I just wanted to talk about a campaign that they brought to my attention that they are doing right now for, let's call it, C19 to avoid demonetization. So they are a jewelry brand. They make really beautiful pieces. I am wearing one of those pieces around my neck right now. They did send me some jewelry for the sponsorship video that will be coming in the future, so we're not going to go too much into them, but just know that I really love this brand. I love everything that they stand for. They are sustainable, they are eco-conscious, just all of the things that I look for in a brand, and they have really incredible pieces. All of that aside, right now they are doing a campaign where they are raising money and donating all proceeds from the sales of this bracelet right here. I will pop it on the screen. They are sending me one of these, but I haven't received it yet. But I wanted to get the word out there as soon as possible. So this is their Unity bracelet. I have more information in front of me, so if I'm looking down, that's what's going on. It is a unisex model featuring an adjustable black cord and a gold chain as a symbol of our interdependency. For each purchase, all proceeds are donated on the buyer's behalf to the CDC Foundation. What that money is going towards specifically is deploying emergency staffing to meet the needs on the front lines, helping communities prevent, detect, and respond to C19, and funding and delivering critical home essentials to quarantined and isolated individuals. So they're selling this bracelet on their website. You can order one for yourself, or you can also order one for a friend or a family or multiple friends and multiple families. If you have somebody who's been really struggling with self-isolation, or just someone who's been on your mind a lot, maybe you'd want to gift them one of these bracelets if you have the ability to, of course. Don't feel pressured at all, but if you'd like to give back and get something beautiful in return, they are doing this campaign right now, so I wanted to bring it to your attention. This is a really great brand that I believe in, and a really beautiful bracelet and a really great cause. So I wanted to give you that information. A sponsorship is coming in the future with Ana Luisa, but this is not that video. I'm not getting paid any money to talk about this, but there you go. All right, now all of those links will be down below. Now let's get into the products that I have hit pan on. So the majority of the items that I have are eyeshadows. Let's talk about the couple of palettes that I've hit pan in so far. Within the last probably year or so, I've decluttered a couple of palettes from my collection that were a lot older, but also had a lot of pan in them. So one thing that I did when I was working on my project pans is I was using up products or palettes and stuff like that that were older in my collection, so I used them and then I decluttered them. But I do have a couple palettes that are still in my collection that do have some pan in them. So the first of which is one of the oldest palettes in my collection at this time, and it is the ABH Modern Renaissance palette. This has a fair amount of use in it, not an obscene amount of use, but a bit. And there's one pan in here that does have some pan in it. And it is this shade right at the top. It's the shade Vermeer. It's this really beautiful pink shimmer color. You can see the pan in that upper corner right there. We've also got quite the dip in this one right here. That's the shade Primavera, but definitely no pan. I think that shimmer shades are the easiest. Well, Yeah, light shimmer shades as well as I think like light matte neutral shades are two of the easiest eyeshadow kind of shades and formulas to hit pan on, just because you can use them so much. I remember using Vermeer a lot in the inner corner and brow bone as highlight shades. That's what helped me hit pan on it. This was in a project pan. I cannot remember which one, but I think it was last year that it was in a project pan. So look at that, I successfully hit pan on that one. That is the only shade in here that's got pan in it, which is a little unfortunate. I think that I really need to start using this a bit more because, like I said, this is getting a bit older in my collection. And the other palette, only one other palette that I have pan in, which is because of another project pan, is the It's a Princess Thing ColourPop and Disney Designer Collection palette. And this is another one, again, that's due to a project pan. And it's kind of a funky pan that I've got in here. It is the shade Ray, which is this color right here. You can see that I've got this kind of funky side pan going in there. So not a conventional pan by any means, but definitely quite a bit of side pan. And then you can actually see the bottom of the pan a bit in there. This is such a beautiful, it's like a yellow gold, but oh god, this is probably one of my favorite colors in this palette. So I was really happy to get some use out of it. It's just such a beautiful wash of gold. Oof, it's almost like a copper gold. It's just so pretty. So that is one of my favorite shades. Again, the light shimmer shades are one of the easiest ones I find for myself to hit pan on because you can use them all over the lid. You can kind of use them as highlight shades, and yeah, they're just fun shades. Oh, let's talk about another eyeshadow. This is a single shadow that I hit last year during a year-long project pan. I want to say this was probably, out of everything that I'm going to talk about, the hardest product to hit pan on because of how deep I think this product went. This is one of the L'Oreal Infallible eyeshadows in the shade Amber Rush. A very, very, very beautiful shade. L'Oreal, however, though, is not cruelty-free, just in case you did not know that. But if you are a cruelty-free individual, you probably already know that. So these pans are remarkably deep. There's so much product in here, and I had this in a project pan, I think a little bit in 2018 and then all of 2019, and I finally hit quite a bit of pan in here, so I was really, really excited. There it is. You can see that glimmer down here in the bottom. Look at how deep that is. Oh my goodness. Definitely a beautiful product, and this was quite the journey to project pan this. This was a shade that I used frequently, just all over the lid, especially during the work week, because it was just such an easy shade to just throw on. Sometimes I'd put some kind of matte color in the crease and then this all over the eye, and that's how I eventually hit pan on it. But like I said, it took forever. Oh, let's move on to a cheek product real fast before we move back into eyeshadows. This is the ColourPop Super Shock Cheek in the shade On the Cusp. A very beautiful highlight shade. However, it is a little dark for me, so I'm only able to use this during the summer. This was also in a project pan, I think last year, which is why I was able to hit pan on it. And I threw this into a project pan because Super Shock shadows are a little more of a creamy texture, so they kind of go bad sooner rather than later. And so far this is still hanging in there really well, but I do have quite the pan. Look at that. So there is the pan that I've got in this bad boy. Such a chunky pan. I love it. I love the Super Shock highlight formula. It's so, so good. Just rub your finger in there, dab it on your cheeks. Good to go. I would like to get a lighter shade. I think Lunch Money, is that the darker one? I used to have another one of these, but it was way too dark for me. But I'd like to invest in a lighter formula that I can use all year round, because like I said, this one's a little too dark. It doesn't quite look good during the kind of early spring, winter, late fall months. So there's only a chunk of time during the year during which I can use this, but really good one. And this wasn't, I don't remember this being too hard to pan, because you get your finger in there, you put it on all the points that you like to highlight, and this wasn't the worst thing to pan. The only trouble was that I couldn't use it all the time. So, but definitely a good one. Good product all around, relatively easy-ish to use up. Not use up, but hit pan on. One more cheek product. This is another, most of the items that I'm going to talk about, or that I have talked about, are project pan related pans, but I do have a couple of natural pans that are coming up. This is not one of them. This is a blush by Tarte in the shade Party. This is a deluxe size blush. This is not one of their full size ones, but I do have a pretty decent pan. I don't even think I need to get close up. You can see it from here. I've got a decent pan in this. This is getting a little older, so I might throw it in some kind of project pan to use up, possibly. But I do have a fair amount of blushes in my collection, so I should actually work on hitting pan on more blushes. This specific product wasn't the worst thing to hit pan on. It was pretty easy, but I think that's just because this is a deluxe size and not a full size blush. So if you have a deluxe size blush, consider maybe putting that into a project pan as opposed to a much bigger, deeper, more densely packed blush, because this wasn't that hard to pan. This is actually probably one of the first products in any project pan. I want to say this was in my first ever project pan, and it's still hanging in here. So like I said, it's getting a little older in my collection. Let's talk about one product that I naturally hit pan on, and this happened within the last couple of months. It is my Fenty Kilowatt highlighter, and there are two different shades in here. There is Lightning Dust and Fire Crystal, and I hit pan on Lightning Dust, which is really exciting. You can see on this side the pan in there. Look at that. I've also got quite the dip on the other side in Fire Crystal, but the real pan is in Lightning Dust. Look at that. I remember when I hit pan, I had my brush in there and I got so excited. I use these a lot on the cheeks and also in the inner corners as highlight shades. This is probably one of my favorite products in my entire collection. I just really love this highlighter so much, and she's got a ton of different shades in this formula for darker skin tones. I don't think that she has another duo like this that's light enough for me, but she's got a ton of darker shades. Beautiful colors. So that's really exciting. If she ever comes out with another duo that I think would work for me, I definitely think I would pick it up because of how much I love this one. I mean, I love it enough to hit natural pan on it, so there's nothing better than that. Very excited about that one. Ooh, next I want to talk about some Super Shock shadows by ColourPop. I do have 4 of them. I have decluttered a handful of Super Shock shadows over the last couple of years that have just dried out, some of which I've had pan in and then some of which I have not. But I do have 4 here that I have hit pan on. I think all of them because of project pans within the last year or so. Let's just go ahead and pull the first one. This is the shade, ooh, Sundance. This is a beautiful warm copper summer shade. This is probably one of my all-time favorite ColourPop shades. It is so beautiful. Let me see, let me give it a little bit. Oh, it's such a soft formula. Ooh, it's just so pretty. I love that shade. It's a very neutral shade, but so beautiful. Next, let's see, which one is this? Oh, Muse. Muse is another one of my favorites. This is a really beautiful, it's like a, it's not copper and it's like a copper pink almost. Here is a close-up of it, and then let me give it a swatch. It's such a beautiful shade. I love this one so much. Definitely a favorite. I mean, I don't like to pan Super Shock shadows unless they're ones that I really love, so all of these are ones that I really love. Next, we have the shade Co-Pilot. This is a very light pastel pink color. This one is getting a little dried out, so this one will probably have to get decluttered by the end of the year, but it is just a light, really pretty. This actually could probably work really well for me as a highlight shade. I might have to try that out, but there's the pan in there. And you swatch your products and you learn new things about them. All right, and the last Super Shock shadow that I've got for you is one that if you've watched my project pans recently will be very familiar to you. This is the shade Kush, and it is a bright metallic silver shade. So let me give this one a swatch. So here is a close-up. You can see the pan in there, a little smaller pan than the other ones. But here is, oh, look at that. It's just such a shiny metallic, so pretty. If you like cool tone shades, this is a very good one. Okay, those are all of my Super Shock shadows. Let's move on to, I think, the last ones. Yes, the last ones that I'm going to be talking about. There are 3 pans in this Z palette right here that I have hit pan on. I think that there's 1 ColourPop product, 1 ABH product, and 1 Makeup Geek product. So let's talk about the Makeup Geek one first, because she rebranded and this shade is not available anymore. Well, this actually might be, I don't know. She rebranded and this shade might not exist anymore. I'm not totally sure. I have a huge pan in this single shadow. This is in the shade Unexpected. It's just this light lilac color. I really, really love matte purple shades like this. And I hit pan on this, I think years ago, but this is a single shadow that I hit pan on because I just loved matte purples so much. Like I mentioned, I don't know if you can find that exact shade on her website anymore. She might have it, she might have included it in the rebrand, or she might have called it something different, but it's just a light purple color. And then this next one is by ColourPop. This is another single shadow, and this is in the shade Labyrinth. This one I also hit natural pan on because of just how much I love this matte shade. So it is just a plain old neutral kind of peachy matte color. That's it. And I've got quite the pan, quite the dip in there. I really, really love this in the crease with some kind of shimmer neutral on the lid. But yeah, this is a great shade. This should still be available on their website, so if you ever have an opportunity to pick it up, I would highly recommend, because the matte shades that ColourPop offers are beautiful on the eye. They're so easy to blend, and this one in particular just works so well for me. And the last shade in the last product that we're going to be talking about today that I have hit pan on is a product by Anastasia Beverly Hills. It is actually a product that I have depotted from one of her glow kits, and it is the shimmer highlighter in the shade Moonstone. This came out of one of her glow kits, Sun something. I don't have it anymore. I got rid of it because there were 2 shades in it that didn't work for me, so I depotted the 2 shades that did work for me and popped them into a Z palette. So this specifically is the shade Moonstone. It is a really, really beautiful highlight shade, and for a long time I didn't have very many highlights, so I used this one quite a bit, and you can see that I have quite the dip in there. All right, and those are all of the products that I have in my collection right now that I have pan in. Like I mentioned earlier, a lot of my project pans, I try to focus on my cream products like foundations, concealer, stuff like that. There's no pan in those. So once I use them up, I get rid of them, show them in an empties video, give them a review, and they're gone. Powder products, these are all of the ones that I have pan in. It does kind of make me think that I need to work on my powder products a little bit more. I do have quite a few blushes. I don't have an obscenely large collection, so this doesn't surprise me too much, and I try and circulate out my near expiration or expired products, but I feel pretty good. This is pretty exciting to see all of the products that I have actual pan in. So I hope that you enjoyed, or maybe this inspired you to pull out some of your products and get some use out of them. If you like this video, please give this one a thumbs up. And if you like project pan videos, I have a lot of those up on my channel and ones that are currently going on. So if you'd like to subscribe, consider doing so. All of those buttons are down below. And I think that is everything I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.